Welcome to the weekly mind sweep number 192. Manage your mind expectation. Expectation isn't the thief of joy, it's your brain telling stories. I recently walked into an event already carrying a story that hadn't even happened yet. In my head, it was going to be amazing. I'd meet the right people, the energy would be electric, and the conversations would flow into opportunities that felt like they had been waiting for me all along. I could see it so clearly, like a scene from a movie. The camera pans to the door as I walk out of an event with fresh momentum and a breakthrough for my business. The script unraveled almost immediately. The room didn't buzz the way I imagined. Conversations detoured into small talk that felt safe but were uninspiring. And that breakthrough never appeared. On my walk to the car, I caught myself pondering a question I don't like to admit. Did I waste my time here? But the reality is that I hadn't wasted anything. My brain was reacting to the gap between what I pictured, unconsciously expected, and what really unfolded, reality. That was my brain caught up in expectation. Unconscious expectations are sneaky. I hadn't consciously thought to myself, this event will change everything. But when reality didn't match the movie in my head, I felt it. My brain jumped quickly from curiosity to judgment. This isn't what I thought it would be. That spiral could have easily colored the entire day. Instead, I consciously chose to pause and notice the expectation itself. I had to reflect not just on what didn't happen, but on what did. Because the gifts were there, just not in the package I had imagined in the story, the ones my brain had expected. Conversations unfolded that deepened existing connections. New ideas did spark when I least expected them. A sense of clarity about my next steps landed quietly in the background. None of that looked like the story my brain had rehearsed, but it was valuable nonetheless. This week, we're unpacking the brain science that helps us explain why this happens, especially for creative and ADHD entrepreneurs. When we expect something exciting, our brain releases dopamine even before the event occurs. Dopamine is about anticipation, not the actual reward. That's why walking into an event with a picture in your head can feel so charged. You're already riding the wave of what could happen. My brain was already celebrating and swimming in dopamine before the event even began. And boy, did it feel good. Think of it like a play unfolding in your head. Dopamine is the stage manager, pulling the curtains open and getting the lights ready. It doesn't wait for the show to start. It sets the scene, convincing something exciting is about to happen. The prefrontal cortex is the director, mapping out the storyline, rehearsing conversations, and blocking the scenes before the actors ever walk on stage. The hippocampus is the set designer, pulling in pieces of memory and past experiences to give the scene detail and texture. And the nucleus accumbens is the audience, already applauding in anticipation of a standing ovation. For ADHD brains, this production is extra dramatic, for the show, of course. The stage lights flare brighter, the director gets more ambitious with the script, and the audience cheers louder before the curtains even rise. Which means when reality doesn't follow the script, the silence in the theater feels deafening, and that's the crash. At its core, the brain is always staging a play, predicting what is coming next. But when the actors forget their lines or the scenes don't go as planned, it's that prediction error that creates the discomfort we feel. That's the expectation gap, the distance between the script in our head and the reality on stage. Standing in that room, I wasn't just experiencing an event. I was experiencing the collision of neuroscience and narrative. My unconscious expectations had written a script, and when the real world refused to play along, my brain flagged it as an error that felt like disappointment. Once I noticed it and named it the expectation gap for what it was, the story changed. I stopped looking for the grand breakthrough I thought I was promised and started noticing the real gifts. Conversations that deepened existing connections, insights that clarified my next steps, and a new perspective on how I want to show up in these spaces. None of it looked like the dopamine-fueled movie in my head, but it was still valuable and meaningful nonetheless. Neuroplasticity is the playwright that gives us the ability to rewrite the script after the show has gone off track. Each time we catch ourselves stuck in the expectation gap and reframe the story, we're revising the play for the next time. Slowly but surely, we teach our brains to stop expecting perfection and to embrace curiosity instead. Let's rewrite the script. Here are 5 actionable steps to begin awareness of expectation and rewrite the story your brain automatically writes. Number 1, name the expectation. Before your brain spirals, pause and ask, what am I expecting right now? Naming it pulls the fog of frustration into focus. Separate effort from outcome. Our brains tend to associate the value of our effort with the reward we expect. Instead, remind yourself, my effort is valuable, regardless of whether the outcome happens today. Number 3, find the smaller wins. Instead of focusing on what didn't happen, look for the gifts that did. A conversation that deepened an existing connection, a fresh idea that came out of nowhere, or a shift in perspective. These small wins satisfy the brain's need for reward and soften the crash of unmet expectations. Number 4, redirect the dopamine loop. At my event, I caught myself waiting for the big breakthrough moment. When it didn't show up, I shifted my focus to what I could celebrate right then, a meaningful chat, a moment of clarity, or even just practicing how I introduce myself. Giving your brain these smaller guaranteed wins keeps the dopamine flowing without relying on the big payoff. And number 5, reframe disappointment as data. Rather than deciding the experience was good or bad, ask, what information did this give me? Sometimes the real value lies in insight, clarity, or confirmation of your next step. Expectation is a tricky companion in business and life. It fuels us with momentum and vision, yet it can just as easily drain us when reality doesn't match the script in our heads. For creative and ADHD entrepreneurs, we live in that tension daily. But when we pause to acknowledge the expectation gap, we open the door to something different, the ability to notice the real gifts already unfolding around us. That event I walked into didn't deliver the grand breakthrough that I had imagined, but it gave me clarity, connection, and perspective I didn't know I needed. And that's the shift, trading judgment for curiosity, prediction for presence. Because while our brains will always love to write the story, life has a way of surprising us with chapters we could have never imagined. And often, those are the ones that matter the most. The real breakthrough isn't what we expect. It's what we learn to see when the script falls apart. I have 2 questions for you this week. When disappointment hits, do you notice the expectation gap, or do you find yourself stuck in the story? If neuroplasticity is the playwright, what script would you like to rewrite in your business or life? If you've ever felt stuck in the expectation gap of being caught between the story your brain wrote and the reality that unfolded, you don't have to navigate it alone. This is exactly the work I do with creative and ADHD entrepreneurs in my MindSwep mapping sessions. Together, we take stories your brain tells, lay them out clearly, and reframe them into actionable steps you can trust. The result? Less spiraling, more clarity, and a business that feels aligned with how your brain actually works. Are you ready to rewrite your script and find the gifts in the hidden gap? Let's map it out. Your brain, your business mapped. Visit chickbookcreative.com and book a free MindSwep chat with me. And if you already know where you're ready to work on your business, you can book a free consultation to learn how I can help support you and your business.